The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time is a game you've probably heard of. Despite being released in the 90s, it's still popular and beloved and firmly entrenched in video game culture to this day. It's a quintessential fairy tale adventure. A young boy goes on a journey to save the kingdom and the princess from an evil monster. It's a simple premise, but it never shies away from showing the effect this conflict has on the peoples of these lands and the dark secrets this adventure unearths. Recently, I discovered a treasure trove of horror romhacks for Ocarina. Romhacks are a kind of mod, changing the content of the game by adding new levels, music, quests, and even items. I played through every horror romhack for Ocarina that I could get my hands on, and while I expected them to be fairly rough and amateurish, they were all made with a surprising amount of care and talent. Some were even the same level of quality as the base game, and all had that unique style of horror that you only get from mods and indie games. Today, we're going to examine 3 of these romhacks. 3 unsettling horror experiences that I think show off what romhacks are capable of. So join me as we descend into the dark world of Ocarina of Time romhacks. Before we dive in, I'd like to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, Manta Sleep. Sleep is pretty important, don't you agree? I always struggle with it, but you know what helps? Sleep masks. This isn't actually just a funny ad thing. I've really used sleep masks for years. No joke, the Manta sleep masks are like the best ones I've ever had. Circadian rhythm, blue light, extra daytime in the summer, etc, etc. Look, your sleep sucks, you need good sleep, and sleep masks help. It's that simple. And yeah, I'm a man who is #pro-nap. Trying to nap during the day is a pain when you can't block out the light, especially in the brighter days of summer, which is coming soon, and Manta sleep masks are awesome to help with that. Really comfortable, no pressure on the eyes, straight up pitch black, and easy to wear. And it's got Michael's approval. Right, Michael? If you want a great sleep mask, Manta Sleep are giving you 10% off right now if you use code Mythonics while you order. Right now, you have to order right now. Click the link in the description if you want a cool sleep mask and or you want to see me torment Michael some more. Thank you Manta Sleep very much for sponsoring today's video. Giant stone towers have grown from the land's surface. The Fingers. Nobody knows what they are, but you're not to go near them. One day, the townsfolk are stricken mad and the river is polluted with what looks like blood. You explore the caves at the river mouth to try and find the cause, and what follows is a waking nightmare. Most of these romhacks are not set in the same world as Ocarina, as in, while they often use the same characters, the story and world are completely different. You're playing as Link with your fairy companion, but it's not the same character as the one in Ocarina, and it's not the same kingdom. The first romhack we're looking at today, Corruption's Embrace, does exactly this. You wake up in bed, in a small cottage shared by you and your grandparents. The first thing you see is a pedestal holding a rock apparently taken during a forbidden visit to the Fingers. Well, it's morning, and that means it's time to get to work. Your bedbound grandmother asks you to help your grandfather, and then fetch her a fresh fish. You take the slingshot and help your grandfather take down some troublesome birds attacking your crops, and receive a bottle for your troubles. Like your fairy did earlier, he warns you to stay away from the Fingers. You head up the path and into the town. There's giant rock formations looming overhead, curving towards something. They're the Fingers, and it's not clear where they came from. The town is empty, or rather the street is. You can hear them clambering and muttering inside. The Fingers, they've grown voices. Can't you hear them? Of course you can. They speak the truth. Such sultry voices. I can hardly contain myself. And the neighbours have already sprouted. Please, let me sprout too. Everything is falling, breaking. I can feel the ground crumbling beneath my feet. Go away. I can feel you watching me. He who has eyes to see, let him see. But not me, please. It never closes its eyes, not even to blink. And when it stares, it hurts. Is this real? Are you real? Hello? It's clear the townsfolk are in the grip of some kind of madness, likely caused by the Fingers. You can't help them, so you continue on to the river. A man sitting there says that the water's turned red, and the fish have turned dead. The water's stained with what looks like blood, but that can't be right. You look around for any clues and find a sword in a nearby watchtower. It's been a long time since anyone has needed such a tool in this village. You have a feeling you will, though, as you enter the mouth of the river. The cave is stained red, like a wound, and you fall into a hole deep inside. The walls are smooth. You can't turn back now. It's an underground dungeon of sorts, seemingly half stone, half organic. The enemies here are different. The Skulltulas, giant spiders that hang from the ceiling and are usually simple to dispatch with a quick slash to their soft underbelly, now have giant eyeballs on their backs. The stare of this eye burns your skin, so you have to be careful as you dance around them. In one of the dark rooms, you fight 3 such creatures and are rewarded with a boomerang. You'll notice that you obtain items fairly quickly in this Romhack, and that's a trend that continues throughout most of them. You're expected to have played the original game, of course, and be familiar with how the items work. You'll recognise these red flesh pillars from the Jabu Jabu's Belly dungeon, where you're taught about their interactions with the boomerang, but still, you can often figure out how to use an item just from when and where you obtain it. Sometimes you're expected to use some special tricks that the average player might not know, but we'll discuss that when we come to it. The door leads to a landscape in a black void. It's the river bridge where you first entered the cave, and your house in the distance. What is this place? Eventually, you loop back around to the central chamber, activating a switch. It raises a massive central pillar, allowing you to climb to the upper floors. You enter a room to find a massive eye staring at you, unblinkingly. But it just watches as you make your way around the room. At the end, a carving warns. He watches over this crystal. If it's disturbed, then don't let him see you move. Naturally, his gaze hurts you if he sees you running back to the door. The villager in town muttering about a gaze that hurts was right. The newly unlocked door opens to a pitch-black hallway with countless sets of eyes staring at you. Some puzzles lead you to another void with rubble suspended in its darkness, where you find a key, and then fall back down to the central room. You use the key on the locked door, which leads back to your house. Your grandmother is here, but she's different. She's a monster now, skewered through with a finger rock. Terrified, you run away. And wake up in your bed. Was it all a dream, or perhaps a nightmare? You leave the house. Only to find it's floating in the void, giant eyes staring down at you. Your vision fades. So, what actually happened here? Was there really some kind of reality-bending dungeon just outside the town? If we take another look at what the townsfolk were saying in their houses, the picture becomes clearer.
The fingers have grown voices. Can't you hear them? Of course you can. They speak the truth. Such sultry voices. I can hardly contain myself. And the neighbours have already sprouted. Please, let me sprout too.
From this message, it's clear that the fingers, the giant pillars of stone erupting from the ground, compel people to come to them. This person thinks they're talking to them, and the voices are so intense they can barely contain themselves. Link himself feels this, having explored them in the past and even taking a piece of them home. And, of course, you walk straight into the cave underneath them.
Everything is falling, breaking. I can feel the ground crumbling beneath my feet. Go away! I can feel you watching me. He who has eyes to see, let him see. But not me, please. It never closes its eyes, not even to blink. And when it stares, it hurts.
Those going through this sprouting feel like the ground is falling away beneath them. We see this a few times. Link literally falls into the dungeon, and there's large sections where the ground has crumbled away. They also feel like they're being watched. Again, something we see multiple times in the dungeon. The Skulltulas have giant eyes on them which hurt, the giant eyeball with a burning gaze, and the eyes at the end. presumably ones that hurt you too.
Is this real? Are you real? Hello?
The classic question, was this all a dream? I believe that, at the very least, the entire dungeon experience was a kind of fever dream Link was undergoing due to some kind of infection from the fingers. I believe the corruption referred to in the title is this infection, and it causes one to have hallucinations of falling and being painfully stared at, and perhaps even your loved ones turning into monsters. At the end of the dungeon, you enter your home through the front door and see Link's grandmother, with the piece of fingerstone that Link had collected stuck inside her torso. His bed has fallen down, suggesting that the stone literally fell on the ground and she touched it. She's been turning into a zombie-like monster because of it. The stone is sprouting, growing larger, and likely draining her mind and body strength to do so. This suggests that all the fingers have sprouted from similar situations. A finger stone latched onto a body and grown into a giant monolith. It might be better to think of them as a kind of fungus rather than a stone, and a connection between fungi and hallucinations is common in the popular consciousness. Corruption's Embrace, then, is a story of a boy who accidentally brings a highly infectious fungus into his house, which causes either his whole town, or at least his household, to become infected and have terrifying visions as the fungus consumes their lives to grow. The feeling of the ground falling away and burning visions promote staying inside and away from others, allowing the fungus safety to properly sprout. It's not quite what I expected for a horror romhack. Corruption's Embrace was the first of these romhacks I played, and honestly, I was stunned at the quality of it. The cutscenes, puzzles, level layouts and story are all excellent. And if Ocarina of Time really was a horror game, then this would fit right in. There's a cheerful festival taking place, the Masca Festival, on the edge of the forest. People playing games, laughing and dancing, but parents warn their children to stay close and stay away from the forest, or the taker will take their face. Is it just a story to scare children? Or is something really lurking in the woods? Look, I'll just say it. Most horror isn't really scary. Maybe it's a little creepy. Maybe you get some chills or startled from a jump scare, but you're not really scared while playing. It's hard to get that feeling right. Masca Festival is one of the few romhacks that, actually, one of the few games as a whole to really make me scared while playing. It does it through a couple of simple tricks that, well, how about I show you? We open with you and Zelda coming to a festival. It's the Masca Festival, and it's packed with people and games to play. Like any good game with multiple endings, this one lets you just leave straight away. Maybe next time we should explore a little more. You overheard someone talking about a hole in the fence. This romhack also highlights how people can use the characters of Ocarina as material for entirely new stories. You're still a hero, and Zelda is still a princess, but it's not quite the same world as you're used to. Most Ocarina romhacks are similar. Some things are the same, but shuffled around. It's almost like cutting a picture up and moving the pieces around, occasionally removing or adding new pieces. Ocarina of Time is particularly appropriate for this, considering that the official sequel, Majora's Mask, basically did just that. That Majora's Mask was a game with darker themes makes me wonder if that's why Ocarina has so many horror-themed projects. The Majora's Mask inspiration is clear in this project, at least. As you complete the games in the festival, you unlock different masks. The festival goers react a little differently to each one, but mostly there for show. As you complete the games, the day progresses. The other guests will tell you about a local legend, one called The Taker, and warn you not to go in the woods. Well, it's just a story, right? If you talk to a man sitting by himself, he'll ask you to stay behind after the festival ends, and he'll give you something. In the meantime, you've finished all the games and there's nothing left to do. Maybe now you should check out that rumour about the hole in the fence. Before long you slip through and are in a clearing behind the festival, with Zelda tagging along. You're a brave knight. You'll protect her, right? You fight some Keese and Deku plants, and find a blocked path. Absolutely no entry permitted, eh? Well, you've got a sword, so you'll be fine. The path leads to the forest, the one everyone has warned you about, and the sun has set. Zelda still believes in you though, so you push forwards. You're attacked by a wolf, but manage to dispatch it. maybe there's a good reason you shouldn't be here. The path splits up ahead. One branch leads back home, and the other back to the festival grounds, but, strangely, there's a row of unlit torches leading into the woods. Naturally, you follow them along, lighting them up as you go, but you're attacked by a zombie, a re-dead. Its face is strange. If you're not careful, it latches onto you, chewing your head, but you manage to kill it, if kill is the right word. It's clearly time to leave the forest. You trace the torches back, but you're stopped in place, a chill crawling up your spine as you sense a presence nearby. But you can't see anything. You have to go. Now. The forest is crawling with re-deads, all with strange faces, so you hurry back to the split in the path and take the one leading home. The mysteries of the forest can stay just that. A mystery. There's always moments in horror that are hard to talk about, because they just sound kind of silly when you spell it out, despite being quite scary if you actually experience it. The moment when the camera locks onto nothing in the forest caught me so off guard and unsettled me so much I almost stopped playing. It almost feels like a bug in the game. It's so simple, subtle and completely unexpected that I was tempted to not talk about this one so I wouldn't spoil it. Doing small, unexpected things like this is why I enjoy mods and indie horror so much. It's something that wouldn't ever happen in a polished AAA game because, well, it does feel like a bug or an error. If you take the left path instead, the one leading back to the now nearly empty festival grounds, it's nighttime. And the re-deads are here now, too. After carefully avoiding them, you find the lonely man still here. He used to work at the Masca Festival and has a story to tell you. It's about a creature called the Taker, who takes people into the woods, never to return. Is it true? Well, who knows? But there's always rumours of people disappearing and being found later in the forest. Their faces different. He gives you a key. Well, there's only one place you can use that. You slip back through the hole in the fence and head back to the forest, to the building the torches led you to, and, ignoring the warning sign, you unlock the door. Stairs inside lead to a massive tunnel, stretching into the darkness. Zelda, perhaps not taking this as seriously as she should, decides it would be fun to race you to the other end, and she's surprisingly fast. When you make it to the other side, she's vanished. You've got to look for her in the hallways and rooms of this strange underground facility. The first door opens to a surgery room of some kind, with a computer. Well, it isn't quite the Hyrule from the original game. The computer has a note on it. I know our research is for a good cause, but some of the stuff we're doing here, I just can't believe. I can't bring myself to tell my wife about the details of what's going on here. Not that I would want her to know anyway, for her own safety. You keep looking for the princess. Most of the doors are unlocked, and you find more re-deads with strange faces, dead bodies, and more computers. The object had reappeared on the Princeton's Aegis Spy 1 radar at our cap point. This tic-tac object had just travelled 60 miles in a very short period of time, less than a minute, was far superior in performance to my brand new FA-18F, and did not operate with any of the known aerodynamic principles that we expect for objects that fly in our atmosphere. This is a quote from a statement by ex-Navy Commander David Fravor about his experience with unidentified aerial phenomena, or as it's more commonly known, UFOs. Another note, a long-held belief connected to the Masca Festival is that there is a creature around here called the Taker. Many believe it's just a superstition. However, we can now confirm that it definitely exists. As far as what exactly it is will require more research. Masca, Latin, meaning spectre, nightmare, mask. Note, it would appear the original meaning held the idea of concealing one's face to protect from a monster. You open a door leading to a room with a re-dead floating in a tank of fluid. A note nearby reads, following up on reports of missing people has led us to find monstrous creatures with distorted faces. Some have even tried to attack us. We had been referring to them as creatures until now. However, if our theories are correct, hosts may be a better term for them. And another. The Taker has been around for a lot longer than anybody here realises. Stories of it go back hundreds of years. We're not entirely sure where it came from, but it would seem to not be of Earth. The notes are confusing, but you begin to piece together what happened. The legends of the Taker are very real, and it's likely an alien of some kind, taking the faces of people for some reason. You find Zelda nearby, hiding in a closet. She's terrified and wants to leave right now. But you want to explore a little more. Zelda says she's always safe as long as she's with you, so you keep exploring, leaving her in her hiding spot. Another note reads, "The Taker had a different name originally. It was called the Face Stealer. Our research indicates that the creature takes the face of those it comes in contact with, and it keeps the original host in its den, gradually drawing energy from them until the host itself becomes a macabre creature, desperately trying to get its face back from anyone they happen upon. We've captured some of these hosts and are hoping to study them to learn more about the Face Stealer. Our superiors say that the ends justifies the means. Whatever this alien creature is, we must do whatever we can to contain it, before it's too late." Well, they failed. The re-deads filling the halls of this place and the forest above must be the remains of the researchers who worked here. Who knows how long ago they were taken by the Face Stealer. Zelda meets you outside the door, eager to keep going. You open a door and enter the final room, and find the final note. "Is anyone still here? To anyone reading this, get out immediately. Most of our research assistants have become creatures themselves. The Face Stealer is too powerful. I keep calling the emergency line, but no one is answering. I hear a noise. Please, if anyone is there, come help me before..." The note cuts off. There's stairs in the corner, leading down further. The best time to leave was when you found Zelda, and the next best time is right now. Or you could go down into the dark. It's pretty clear you shouldn't be here. Soon you find what seems to be a crypt, with the walls lined with skulls. There's people wrapped in red tentacles, trapped by the monster, including Zelda herself, but she was just with you. You hear a voice behind you. It's the Taker, using her voice, taunting you. There's no time to save her, you've got to run. The alien looms behind you, strange noises announcing its approach. If it grabs you, whatever it does is so horrible that your mind stops dead and the game freezes. You've got to run through the maze of a research facility and avoid the freezing gaze of the re-deads, all while the Taker closes in on your heels. You finally make it to the stairs, but the exit is different. It's a rainbow cave filled with re-deads, and giant eyes adorning the floor and walls. This is a game to the entity. It's enjoying watching you struggle. You run into a blood-red cave and fall through the floor and down a spiral of staring eyes, and drop into the real exit. You escaped. But did you? Link looked back on that day, filled with sorrow and regret in his heart. This was a day he tried desperately to forget. As I asked him what he could remember from back then, the only reply he could give was, "My face was stolen that day." For you see, he had lost two people very dear to him that day. He lost his best friend, and another close friend of his too, named Link. And ever since then, whenever he would gather the courage to look at his old friend in the mirror, it is not Link he would see, but a strange, foreign, distorted face instead. A face of what he had become. I didn't expect such a strange ending from any of these Romhacks, to be honest, and I had a little trouble parsing it. There's two ways to read it. One, that because Link failed to protect Zelda, and is even responsible for putting her in danger, he became a different person. He's no longer a hero, and can't bear to look at himself in the mirror. The other way to read it is that the Face Stealer actually did take Link's face, and replace it with something else, much like it did with the other people's it stole. However, instead of Link being trapped in its den, he managed to escape. That would explain the almost psychedelic ending, if Link was struggling to fight off the Taker's influence. Perhaps it's both, using a literal stolen face as an allegory for Link's failure and loss of identity. What do you think? Either way, It's an interesting horror story about an ancient alien whose persistence over the centuries caused folktales and even a festival to be created. This bright and fun facade is revealed to be a deadly truth underneath, and after it all, the monster isn't even defeated. The only way to keep a bright and happy life is to not dig too deep at all. Sometimes it's better to not find the truth. It's not often these days you get UFOs and aliens in a kind of psychological horror. Well, not quite like this, but it's refreshing. It calls to mind the ghost-like aliens in Majora's Mask, where they attack Romani Ranch to kidnap cows and can even take the younger sister. She'll be returned the next day, her mind addled and memories erased, with her older sister distraught over her condition. While they're not explicitly called aliens, these creatures are clearly based on them, with their obsession with cattle, memory erasure, and their designs being similar to the real-life alien cryptid, the Flatwoods Monster. They're not quite as scary as the Taker from Masca Festival, but small Romhacks can explore ideas that full games simply cannot. Could you have Princess Zelda having her face snatched by a serial killer alien in a scientific facility, then make the player go through a psychedelic trip as they escape? Well, not even the weirdest Zelda game, Majora's Mask, got quite that weird. You wouldn't see that in many AAA games at all, really, let alone family-friendly Nintendo games. Romhacks and indie games as a whole let us explore ideas that are not palatable for broad audiences. And while they can end up goofy and rough at times, you're simply not going to find these experiences anywhere else, and they should be applauded. This next Romhack, well, it's not quite as strange as the Masca Festival, but it puts to bed the idea that Romhacks or mods are all unpolished and amateurish. It's one of the most impressive mods I've seen for any game. Have you ever wondered what happened between the end of Ocarina of Time and the beginning of the next game, Majora's Mask? It's a simple question with a not-so-simple answer. At the end of Ocarina, Link's fairy and now close friend Navi goes missing. It's this friend he's looking for at the start of Majora's Mask when he stumbles onto a new adventure, but there's some discrepancies, and this Romhack, the missing Link, seeks to bridge the gap between the games, and it does so much more. The game opens with you returning to the Kokiri Forest, your hometown, where your original adventure began. Not much has changed. Everyone's surprised you're back so soon. And they tell you that Saria wants to see you. But when you enter her house, she's not there. You hear a voice in the quiet room.
Link, listen carefully. This forest is in grave danger. Without the divine protection of the great Deku Tree, Kokiri Forest slowly has begun to wither away. Worse yet, a fairy-collecting demon has started capturing all of the fairies in the land of Hyrule, and will soon arrive here as well. In front of you is a chest containing a farewell gift from one of your friends. Please, use that gift to save this forest and bring back its fairies.
You open the chest to find the farewell gift, a soul-charged Kokiri sword. It's the same sword you start Majora's Mask with, but it's a little different now. When you swing it, it sends a beam of energy that can hit things at a distance. It should be helpful in hunting down whatever evil has crept into the forest in your absence. The other Kokiri know about the fairy-stealing demon, but they can't help you. They're bound to stay in the forest, as they can't survive outside of it. Even so, the demon may have been close to this area already, as some of their fairies are missing too. You use your new sword's ability to cut down a tree and make a bridge into the deep woods. The path branches. One way leads to the Deku Grove, but it's locked down for now. But the fairy stealer got past. You'll have to convince them to let you through. In the meantime, you follow the other path and fall deeper and deeper still into the red-tinged woods, fighting your way past Deku Scrubs and other enemies. Two friendly Deku Scrubs, called Miko and Michael, ask you for a favour. One wants bomb chews, a kind of moving explosive that you can only get from Monktown Valley. If you help them, they'll help you get through the Deku Guards. Well, you pretty much have to then, right? They give you the special code to get through the maze-like forest ahead, and soon, you're in Monktown. It's a dry town with sand pouring into it. You hear the voice again, the one from when you first received your new sword.
Link. Link.
It's Saria, and she's a spirit.
Please don't be afraid. It is I, the soul bound within your sword speaking. I am very weak at the moment, so please excuse my brevity. I wish I could explain more to you, but this is important. I sense a curse in this valley. Yes, I am sure of it. These re-deads. I can still sense a human soul resting deep within them. Please, Link, take caution.
You have a lot of questions about why your old friend is a spirit inside your sword, but it's clear she can't answer them now. It seems like you'll have to break the curse before you can get your bomb shoes. Well, you are a hero. Monktown Valley is a warren of tunnels connecting the buildings together, a maze in of itself. Eventually you make it to the Monktown Sanctuary, a monastery/prison complex that likely gave the region its name. 3 Gerudos, a group of all-female thieves, are guarding a treasure chest they've found, although they can't leave due to the re-deads everywhere. There's nothing else to do here, so you keep exploring. You use bomb flowers to trigger a sand slide to access the library, which contains some interesting clues about what's happening here. Mythology 1. The Curse. Because the Monktown Sanctuary is the dwelling of a powerful god, disturbing the holy tranquility would surely bring great disaster. The valley's oldest known theologist once wrote of a curse that would bring a great peril if one were to disturb the sanctuary. According to this same theologist, the only way to revert the curse is to bring back silence into the sanctuary. Mythology 2. The Sanctuary. The Monktown Sanctuary is an integral part of Monktown and is accessible from many different houses. There are plenty of secret paths leading to the sanctuary. As the legend goes, our ancestors once angered the gods who watch over the valley. To atone for their sins, all descendants must watch over and protect the spirits resting within the temple. If a spirit were to awaken, the writhing curse would no doubt break free. Fiction 1. Fairies. In a faraway land, many fairies live. Each one of these fairies is created out of nothing but dust, magic, and a purpose. Some have the purpose to heal, while others have the purpose to be a companion. Very rarely, a fairy with a larger purpose is born. However, these fairies live a tragic life. As soon as they fulfill their purpose, they turn back into dust, with their heroic duties often left forgotten. Fiction 2. Soul Magic. There is a magic spell that allows one to bind a soul into an object. This makes the object much more powerful and can give it magic abilities. One use might be to create a spell that binds the soul of a mouse to a bomb, allowing it to run. Fiction 3. Stalfos. It is said that there is a place that can turn a human into a Stalfos. Many bloodthirsty warriors would seek out this place as their life nears its end. Now their pained souls roam the land of Hyrule, eternally fighting any brave warrior they encounter. It also gives some information about local creatures, such as the Peahat, a giant plant creature, and the Deku Scrubs. Continuing on, you loop back around to the sanctuary, and are able to use your magic sword to detonate some bomb flowers and open a path. Inside the sanctuary's upper room, you find the deadly Peahat from the texts. It's a little tougher than you'd expect, but you defeat this creature, and your reward is a bottle. You use the bottle to capture some blue, cold fire, and melt the red ice to access the door switch. Freeing the re-dead scares the Gerudo thieves away, and something shifts. Saria tells you to look outside, and the curse is lifted. The re-deads have turned back into their human forms. The thieves had disturbed the peace of the sanctuary, awakening whatever spirit was sleeping within, which unleashed the curse upon the town. It's time to get those bomb chews. The townsfolk are, unfortunately, not so thankful that they offer you a discount, so you have to buy them at full price. The Deku brothers are suitably impressed by them and give you their gate pass, and now you can keep chasing after the demon taking the fairies. You've made it to Deku Road. The scrubs are all friendly here, as it's their home turf. You find the bridge to the ranch, but it's been destroyed. The Dekus don't want humans visiting without their permission, it seems. At the other end of the road, you make it to Deku Grove. As you enter, Saria speaks to you one last time.
Please listen closely, Link. I fear this may be the last time we are able to speak like this. Look around and observe. This forest may seem at first glance to simply be a peaceful dwelling. Yet I could sense the presence of the fairies. They are nearby. That is not all I sense, though. You surely must feel it too, darkness creeping towards us. It's almost as if you listen closely, you can hear their cries. When I heard the demon was nearing the forest, I left to stop him. I wanted to protect all of our fairies. As you could see, though, I failed and nearly lost my life. Rather than die a useless death, I sealed my soul within this sword and waited for you. I waited for you, Link, to return. I just knew you would. I'm sorry I couldn't be of any more help to you, but I'm glad we spent this time together. So please, give this adventure a hopeful end. I'll be there beside you. Always.
Saria gave her life to protect the fairies, and bound her soul to this sword in a desperate prayer that you would return to end this evil. The Deku Grove is full of merchants selling expensive items of varying usefulness. One even has a bunny hood, which lets you run faster and jump higher. While it's convenient, it's still not enough to let you continue through the ravine. At least it lets you jump the bridge to the ranch. Malon, the ranch girl from Hyrule, is here, and she's got a Epona. It's not really your horse, but she took a real liking to you. Malon suggests you play with her a bit and run a race. She'll give you a prize if you win. It's lucky you have the bunny hood, because otherwise you probably couldn't outrun a horse. Your prize is Kojiro, a brave blue cuckoo. You can carry him with you wherever you like. And when you hold onto him, you'll glide instead of fall. If you combine it with a bunny hood, you can travel quite far. Kojiro helps you across the third gap, and you can climb the rest of the way, sadly having to say farewell to your feathered friend. The clearing opens up beyond the ravine, to the base of a great tree stump, its entrance yawning open to swallow you whole. You enter the lair of the demon, Hollow Root Keep. It's dark and gloomy, the depths stretching into the darkness deep below. Even the doors are etched with images of fairies being snatched. The central room has a massive effigy for a skulltula, the man-sized spiders that have a sneering skull pattern on their bodies. What better symbol for a person that traps the delicate flying fairies? While exploring and solving puzzles, you find several half-human spider creatures. They explain that the demon kidnapped their entire village and used magic to experiment on them with the goal of absorbing the fairies' powers. His ultimate goal is to transform himself, creating the ultimate monster. He's already captured all the fairies of Hyrule. All the skulltula spiders in this dungeon. Are they the rest of the village, cruelly twisted by the demon? It doesn't seem like he can do anything to help them now. Most dungeons in the Zelda series have their own treasure, and the one hidden in Hollow Root Keep is the magic hourglass. It's an entirely new weapon made for this Romhack, and it allows you to make your body travel backwards in time a few seconds, while the world stays the same. After finding all the keys, you solve a clever puzzle and drop down into the depths, to the bottom layer of this dungeon. There's one last half-human spider here, who tells you that something went wrong with the demon's transformation. It was interrupted by some of the fairies escaping into the forest. Could Navi still be safe? The final door leading to the demon's chamber is massive, with a pattern that is both a fairy and an evil eye. You drop down onto a ledge overlooking some kind of twisted tree, with some fairies in a cage hanging from its branches. The tree stands up. It's the demon. Its name is Aberachnid, the result of the fairy snatcher's experiments to make himself a monster. Like the skulltulas, its back is its only weak point. Its great legs buffet you as it clumsily crawls around, but it's still too fast for you to catch its back. You remember the item you found in this dungeon, the hourglass. If you run around just right and use it, you'll be teleported to the right place to strike. After a few good hits, the beast shudders and pulls the fairies out of the cage and eats them. The demon now moves faster, and the eye growths on its trunk now shoot beams, making the fight all the harder. Getting in close and ducking under its legs, you manage to deliver the final strike, and your magic sword burns this demon tree to dust. It's finally over now. But Navi isn't here. You have to hope that she was one of the fairies that escaped, because otherwise... You leave the awful underground dungeon and, maybe, you catch a glimpse of a fairy through the trees. You call for Epona, and together you ride through the woods, leaving off where the next game, Majora's Mask, starts. The missing link is particularly impressive compared to most Romhacks for a few reasons. As you've just seen, the quality is phenomenal. It's at the stage where if you told me it was cut content from the games, I'd probably believe you. Like I said before, we can't expect every Romhack to be this quality level, but I'd like to point out some of the things that this one did that most don't. The most impressive in my opinion is the custom item, the hourglass. It's difficult to make a new item, yes, but even coming up with new item ideas and appropriate puzzles is tricky. The custom boss is a close second, as not only did it have an entirely new model and animations, it very cleverly used the hourglass's mechanics. And there's actually quite a lot of custom content in this Romhack too. Most Romhacks will have a new level or dungeon using the existing items, and while most have quite a lot of effort put in and aren't bad by any means, the missing link goes a step further and adds custom models, textures, and music, all of which blend seamlessly in with the base game. The missing link stands out in a field with many excellent projects. A major theme in this story is humans' involvement in the world's natural balance. The town of Monktown is carved into the rock, with tunnels leading between all the houses and the sanctuary, as a merger between human dwellings and nature. The humans of Monktown kept a careful balance with the spirits sealed within their sanctuary, and other humans disturbed that balance thanks to greed. The demon, too, highlights the disruption of this balance. It being turned into a spider form brings to mind the cursed family in Ocarina and Majora's Mask. In both games there are people who are cursed due to their greed, becoming half-spider monsters. The demon's greed cursed him into becoming a spider monster too, although this perhaps was at least somewhat intentional, as his lair is covered in spider motifs. The demon's perversion of nature spreads an evil aura throughout the woods, likely upsetting the Deku Scrubs nearby, who end up punishing the humans of the ranch. The ranch is symbolic in this case of a human relationship with nature. They'd spent generations raising, caring for, and protecting animals. Presumably, they'd had no serious issues with the Deku before, as the humans were previously able to use the Deku Road to transport their goods. Link, despite living with the Kokiri, is not one. He's a human who was taken in by them when his dying mother begged them for help. In his position as a human raised by the children of the forest, Link is the embodiment of a correcting force, righting these wrongs by blade. His sword is even a literal merger of the forces of man, as a forged metal weapon, and nature, containing the spirit of Saria, a Kokiri. It highlights that there are beneficial and safe ways that humans and nature can work together, without it becoming dangerous or exploitative, and that the world will naturally seek an equilibrium. There's also the theme of purpose and time. You have a purpose on this earth, and it needs to be fulfilled at specific times. The people of Monktown must dedicate their entire lives for the foreseeable future to taking care of the sanctuary. It's designed like a prison because it is a prison, due to their past mistakes. That's likely why it's a desert. Human activity has caused desertification in previously lush areas on our real world. The ranch family too have a life sentence in looking after their property, but it's a positive one. Human activity can cause nature to flourish and grow in partnership with themselves if done correctly. If done incorrectly, the results can be disastrous. There's two common theories that I think were likely important in the crafting of this story. The first is that Majora's Mask is a kind of dream or vision Link has, which is trying to prepare him for his death. The game is drenched in themes of loss and death and how people deal with it, and the theory goes that Link, being wrenched from his time due to his previous adventure, is struggling to accept his own mortality. The other theory is that the hero Shade in Twilight Princess, a ghostly skeletal warrior who is explicitly a previous hero, is actually the Link from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and, of course, the one we play as in Missing Link. This Shade has haunted Hyrule because he felt he never had a worthy successor to pass his skills on to, and because of the time travel, he was not remembered as a great hero. His place and time in history were destroyed. The library book in The Missing Link says that some human warriors intentionally become Stalfos to continue fighting after their deaths. Its placement here suggests that this Link did the same, becoming something more powerful than a regular Stalfos due to his status as a blessed hero. It's not too dissimilar to what the demon does. They both use the power of natural forces to extend their lives for what are selfish reasons. Link's is much less destructive than the demon's, and eventually does result in a great good, far into the future. Becoming a Stalfos is perhaps more of a natural option, as it's triggered by becoming lost in the Lost Woods, and doesn't rely on the consuming of natural forces. There's even a Stalfos in the Deep Root Keep, which the demon likely studied, further highlighting the connection. The Missing Link is a story about Link trying to find his missing friend, but it's also a story of the delicate balance that humans have to walk in their mission to take care of the world. It's a world where everybody has their place, and by forcing things out of place, it can quickly become dangerous. Link's friend Navi might be dead. If not from the demon, then perhaps by the naturally limited lifespan of the fairies, who are said to return to dust. Link's refusal to accept it is driving him out of his place, breaking the boundaries of nature, which is sure to result in some dark end. If you'd like to hear about more Ocarina of Time horror romhacks, then please let me know in the comments. There is a surprising amount of them out there, and they're all really good, and it was difficult just to pick a handful for this video. Thanks again to today's sponsor, Manta Sleep. Make sure to check them out at the link in the description and use code MYTHONICS. I'd also like to thank my friend Laponkotsu for providing the voice of Saria. She streams regularly and is currently playing through Ocarina of Time for the first time, so make sure to go say hi. All of the romhacks mentioned today can be found on the excellent site Hylian Modding, which hosts pretty much every Ocarina romhack. I've included direct links to these romhacks in the description, but make sure to poke around a little bit because there's surely something else that will catch your eye as well. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please consider subscribing for more, or even becoming a patron. It's the best way to support content like this. You can get access to scripts, teasers, videos before the general public, and, of course, your name in the credits. Thank you especially to those who have signed up already. Their names are on screen now. You've been watching Mythonics, hosted by More They Doog. And remember, you're never alone in the dark. I played through Majora's Mask again recently, and man, it's insane how good it is. Perfect tone, perfect characters, and perfect mechanics. It's one of those games where you think, it couldn't possibly be as good as I remember, and it is that good. We're never getting another Zelda with that tone ever again, I think, thanks to Breath of the Wild, so we've got to wait for an indie game to pick up the slack. How much would you need to fund that anyway? Maybe we could do like a Kickstarter or something. Maybe when I've got Buku bucks from YouTube, I'll figure something out.